Hey, it's John Michaela here, and with Be Free and Clear, and I've got a special guest that is going to introduce you to a topic that is out there in the market right now. How does the thought of being your own bank sound to you? Well, if it sounds intriguing, then I've got the perfect guest with us here today. Kristina Messenger with Messenger Financial. Welcome, Kristina. You are going to tell us how to be your own bank. Oh gosh, I hope the people around me aren't listening to me. They're going to come after me for this one. Here we go. Welcome, Kristina.
Thank you, John, so much for having me. I am so excited to just be here and experience this awesome podcast that you are putting out there with so much relevant information that the world needs to know about. Being your bank is just one of the many things that you're highlighting. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, my absolute pleasure. Well, we're in changing times, right? Like I've been in the mortgage banking, financial space for over 30 years, and there's a lot of things changing. We're seeing, we just got off of record inflation. The markets are all the way around are all-time highs. Geez, I don't know if I've ever seen things like this. We've got real estate, the S&P, gold prices maybe not right as in during this episode, but we've hit highs. Cryptocurrencies got up there. It's just wow, what an interesting time. But yet we still hear that people, are finding some struggles and challenges, both on an everyday standpoint or even making decisions. So, I guess with that in mind, what kinds of things are you seeing in the market, and maybe even before we get into that, give us a little bit of background about like how you train, how you got into this arena, and maybe just a little bit about you, and then we'll go down that path of talking about those things.
Absolutely. And I think that, you're absolutely right on the fact that we have had so much change in the market, so many things that are going on. And it's not just changing how we look at money, but it's also changing the direction of maybe what families are choosing to spend money on. And so that's actually a little bit tied to my story. I have been in the financial space as a very proud life insurance agent and financial consultant for 15 years. This job or career chose me. I did not wake up one day and say, I think that I will talk with people about the thing that they hate talking about most, life insurance. And I think that I will take on this task of educating middle America about wealth strategies. It actually came to me because of my life story. Unfortunately, at age 29, I lost my husband and in a motorcycle accident. And when you're in your 20s, no one thinks to talk to you about life insurance. He had a business, we owned a home, two small kids. I worked full time in corporate America. And I think that I had had life insurance through like my company, but, checking off the box for spouse or kids insurance when no one really kind of talks about that with you, it wasn't something in your 20s that you thought about. One of the things I love about, today, 20 some odd years later, is that at least there's conversations about making sure you have life insurance. What is a trust? What is a will, right? We had no concept of any of those words in our 20s. And so, unfortunately, that resulted in number one, my boys and I not having the financial protection that we needed when he left this earth, which meant that, I made some really great decisions. And then because I didn't have that education and that knowledge and knowing what to do, I also made some really bad decisions. And I think that's par for the course when we don't know what to do. And then fast forward a few years later, I had actually opened a granite company and was very successful at that. And a gentleman approached me and said, Hey, did you know that there is a financial product that if one of your homeowners doesn't come home because they pass away unexpectedly, that it would pay off the mortgage. And I literally, he had no idea my story. That just 6 years prior to that's what I had lived through. And I said to him, if what you're saying is legal and true, I will tell every household that I put granted in about this incredible financial product that you speak of. And so that financial product was actually called mortgage protection. And I guess started with what you would call a side hustle before I even knew it was called a side hustle. I literally decided to get my life insurance license, and with the sole purpose of just teaching and telling each of my clients that this existed. What it ended up being for me was therapy. I didn't know it. It
Mm.
was the best therapy 6 years later to help me really deal with grief, because I got to tell my story. I got to speak about my husband. I got to share, like, here's the one thing he would tell you if he was here, like, this is important. And that transpired into me actually transitioning to really jumping in and learning more about the financial industry, how life insurance is actually used with very wealthy families to create their own banks, how life insurance is used with small business owners to protect, their baby, if you will, the thing that they birth, how life insurance is being used with huge corporations today to protect the greatest minds that they have with, like, key account managers and executive bonuses. There's so many things that I think the average person doesn't like to talk about life insurance because it reminds them of death. But the fact is that in this industry, they actually started selling it as death insurance, but it didn't sell because it was called death insurance. And that if people would really focus on the word life, this insurance is to, in today's world, life insurance is actually meant to give you more life. And I think that if we focused on life and what it can do for us, then we're able to use a lot of different financial products that are at the core life insurance, but we're able to fund our life and what we want to do, whether it's, buying real estate, buying businesses, leaving a legacy, protecting our loved ones. There's just so much more that we can do. So that's how I got started. My story continued to unfold. I really have a heart and a passion also for protecting the insurability of our children, because unfortunately in 2015, I lost my special needs son. And again, in my 20s, nobody had told me that I should have protected the insurability. So, one of the things I speak a lot about when I get an opportunity to share my story is that if you're a parent seeing this, we do have a responsibility to protect our children's insurability. And it's not something fun to talk about, but that if he would have had life insurance or life insurance with living benefits, my story would have been, again, totally different. And so, thank you for asking, because when I get to share about my husband in heaven, Doug, or my son Jacob, it is a reminder that I'm pretty sure this is why I was put on earth, is just to bring the actual reality of how important that these financial products are to our entire wealth plan.
Yeah,
So,
I thank you, Christina, for for sharing moments that were obviously very, very difficult, and I appreciate you being willing to put that out there, and it touches too, because I think you're right. Life insurance. I know even early on, my early exposure to life insurance didn't have all those elements that you talked about, and then on top of the strategy part of it with wealth and tax planning, there is predominantly an emotional factor that we, I don't know, I guess as finite human beings really don't want to address maybe, and
right.
but is so crucial and critical, and
Mhm.
you putting that human story behind it. And I know you're an educator too, because you and I've spent other time talking about how how you run workshops and classes, and you feel very passionate and compelled to just educate people, so that it comes out of like, hey, you're not just trying to sell a product. You literally want people to see, see these opportunities, paths, and vulnerabilities that we have, and how to contend with them as best possible. So I appreciate this.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it is we have Life Insurance Awareness Month, which is awesome, and different things throughout the month. But one of the things that I like to kind of jokingly say is that I wish there was more emphasis on protecting our lives as much as emphasis there is on protecting our cell phones because
Yeah.
there is this kind of upside down thing going on here where we should be very excited about protecting our lives, if you will, but
Yeah.
it's not talked about as much as it should be.
That's a great that's a great analogy though, because I know, like, I've had some experiences regarding life insurance, and inside the marketplace. So, from a consumer perspective, sometimes life insurance can get a bad rap, because I think people, where it comes from is, people are sold a product that doesn't fit their needs.
That's right.
And so really, what's happened is, they've had a poor assessment done by, an agent or a financial planner that, didn't maybe go through an entire
Mm,
uh, a review of what the true needs were,
yeah.
and so then that ends up evolving into, the insurance product getting a bad rap.
Mhm.
So and me knowing about you, how do you educate people so that they can feel comfortable knowing, what they're getting into,
Mhm.
how you make them feel empowered with making a decision around something that doesn't come back to bite them or turn into one of those nightmare
Right.
stories that we hear about.
Yeah, I think education is the key. Actually, my entire financial practice for the last 15 years has been built on education. I not only host events nationwide with different ladies that I am able to mentor in this industry, where we allow women to come together and socialize and network, and then each month we teach a wealth tip. But I also host class for husbands, wives, your partners, business associates, where we Money 101 is one of them, where we talk about from the very basics of investing all the way through to how do I know if my retirement wealth strategy is more taxed heavily based, or do I have some of these taxed advantage strategies on the docket because we don't know what the tax rate will be when we retire. And then also, we've been able over the last decade to put together a class called Business Boot Camp, and what to know about Social Security, Medicare 101. These are all things that actually play into part of building the house for your retirement, right? It's not just a 401k or an IRA. There are so many other strategies that come along with that and understanding. And so my entire agency is built on making sure that middle America and upper middle America, because that's really the crux of who's holding America together today, that we have access to free financial education, whether that be in person or on Zoom. And I think that for me, specifically a woman in a very male dominated industry like, financial consulting and life insurance, for me, I know that I'm bringing hope to the women that ultimately are having to make more decisions when it comes to wealth. Number one, women live longer. And number two, we are generating more money in the workplace than we have ever generated before. And we need the confidence to know that the financial decisions that we are making are not only going to be impactful for our lives, but as women, we have a desire to create that legacy beyond us. And I'm not saying men don't by any means, but there is an innate nature there where women are wanting to learn, how do I create legacy with wealth and life insurance? And so thank you for recognizing that education is a piece of that. I think that everyone should have access to free financial education, and I really wish my soapbox would be, I really wish that in colleges and in high schools they would bring back things like how to know if your interest rate is working for you or against you, what is the truth about compound interest, and how to balance a checkbook, and what to know about a credit rating, and things of those, just those basic things. When I get my own planet, I'm definitely going to make sure we have those classes.
Well, I couldn't agree more on the educational part. So I'm going to extract on that for just a moment and jump into. I wanted to grab a piece you're talking about, because you're started mentioning things like 401ks and IRAs, and for viewers or listeners that aren't super familiar with some of those vehicles that are out there. The way I'm going to dumb it down for myself for just a moment is saying, like, hey, listen, you're not trying to show or tell people, like, go out and buy life insurance and just use that as your vehicle too. You are really trying to be holistic in your
Absolutely.
approach. Where can you share a little bit about, like, hey, this isn't just about, like, buying life insurance.
Right.
It's looking at the appropriateness for, when do you just open a unqualified account with your spouse and buy mutual funds, or when do you buy an IRA? How do you maximize your employer's matching through your 401k? Can you give a little bit
Yeah,
of flavors how
absolutely.
you would look at that, like, multi-dimensional approach?
Absolutely. I'm very holistic in that. That is something that we pride ourselves on. And one of the things for us is that we're a no fee financial consulting agency, meaning there's never a fee to sit down and do a strategy appointment, whether you have zero or you have 100 million. It doesn't matter. There's no fee for that. We work really well if you have a tax strategist or another financial advisor, kind of sitting down and looking from the ground up. What do you have, and where might there be an opportunity for a different type of financial product to help you? We do a lot of education around, are you taking advantage of free money? Meaning, does your company have a matching 401k? If so, we love free money, making sure that we're maximizing that out. We then take a look at Roth IRAs. You've got options there. I'm a safe money strategist, meaning any of the financial products that I work with, you can never lose any money in those indexed accounts. So we also have indexed Roth IRAs, where if your reason why you haven't opened a Roth IRA is because you didn't want your money in the market, then you can do an indexed Roth, still taking advantage again of the tax code to be able to put after tax dollars away, and after 59 and a half be able to pull that money out without paying taxes on it. A huge strategy that most middle America misses. And we also take a look at, what are you paying on insurance? Do we just have term? Do we have term with living benefits? Insurance has changed over the last 25 years. There is now actually life insurance that you can access if you're diagnosed with a cancer, heart attack, stroke, cardiac arrest. You get admitted to a nursing home. You're diagnosed with Alzheimer's. This is important because, again, most of us will never, unfortunately, be able to afford true long term care. But through the power of life insurance, there are financial products that can act like long term care and give you more strength and stability in your entire overall wealth plan. So we take a look at that. We take a look and see, are there other tax strategies using maybe indexed accounts with life insurance where you can grow that money tax deferred using the tax code, take that money out tax free? Specifically, if you're a small business owner or an individual who's heavily on the 401k side, right? We need something to kind of offset that. And then we also look at, maybe you have old 401ks that have been out there, because now today we are in definitely a time where most of us who are in the workforce today and have been entered the workforce in the last 10 or 15 years, we will have between 5 and 8 jobs, which means we're going to end up with multiple individual retirement accounts known as IRAs. We're going to end up with, multiple 401ks. And so I work with my clients we go find those, we roll them over. It doesn't cause any taxation problems, but we roll them over into their name. and really, again, leverage that as part of their wealth strategy. And so we take a look at all of those things. The additional things that we take a look at that sometimes people don't think about are Social Security, right? How does that play into it? We look at mortgages. Are we really utilizing our mortgage in the way that we should? Some of us, we have a desire, we were put here on earth to pay off our house like before we retire. That's awesome. That equity can actually be used as part of a wealth strategy down the road. Reverse mortgages are not a bad word. We tell our clients reverse mortgages have come a long way, and they actually should be part of your retirement plan. We take a look at additional, assets, and is there planning, legacy planning that you want, right? And talk about wills and trust and power of attorneys, because all of those things are just as important as just a term life insurance, right? So my practice is completely holistic in taking a look at all of those things. We evaluate, do you have other things like gold and silver, crypto, some of the more non-traditional, if you will, ways to invest. But it is important that we diversify and we don't just have everything in the stock market.
Yeah, that is great. So you mentioned non-traditional. So we were teasing our listeners and viewers in the beginning with saying be your own bank. So just from a super high level, because we've got limited time inside of these
Right.
episodes. From a super high level, what does that mean to be your own bank? We've also heard the term infinity banking. What does that mean in the terms that we're seeing thrown away, thrown around on social media and out
Right.
there in today's different alternate investing strategies?
Yeah, well, just like the rotary phone used to only do one thing, right? The rotary phone only used to call one person at a time. Life insurance, which we have traditionally understood to just pay out when someone dies, now actually does a lot more than that. And one of the things that it does is provide the ability using the IRS tax code for families, whether you're just regular old two income W 2 employees or you are a millionaire or a billionaire, you have access to the same financial strategies to be able to use life insurance products to create wealth that you get to access in real time and allows you to be your own bank. And this term has been probably being used for about 20 years. Most of the time, when it has come up over the last 2 decades, people believe that that's only through a financial product, a life insurance product called whole life insurance. But that has changed. There's actually additional life insurance products like indexed accounts that are being used in order for families to be able to, let's say they want to buy a house and they know that they also need to start saving. A very simple way to look at these be your own bank is maybe you're going to be saving for 2 or 3 years into a high yield savings account, but you also need life insurance. Well, we might use that indexed universal life insurance or that whole life insurance product and build it in such a way where you can start putting monthly contributions in there. It's going to have your death benefit. It might have living benefits, but then it's building a cash value. And you might still be able to build that cash value up over that same time period, 2 or 3 years. But the beautiful thing is at the end of that 2 or 3 years, when you're ready to buy a house, now you can just borrow that money out and have that money for your closing while you still have that life insurance and those other benefits. And depending on how that account is built, we like to build them where that account over here continues to credit interest as if that money is there, even though you've taken it out and now you have it on a new asset. So it's working for you in two places at once. So it's a very simple way. But we also have, those individuals who are buying multifamilies and these huge, multiplexes, right? And we're able to build accounts out there that have life insurance that protect their entire investment portfolio. So if somebody has $4 or $5 or $6 million to protect their entire investment portfolio, we use that life insurance, and that opens a larger account for us to be able to stuff cash into. And theoretically, that's where this came from, being your own bank. We're stuffing that cash in, and then those investors are able to take that money out again in real time, go buy the next property, pay themselves back after they flip it, or after maybe they resell it in a couple of years. Maybe it's a buy and hold for 2 or 3 years. But that gives them leverage to not have to worry about what do my financials look like to the bank, because they are their own bank. They're
Yeah.
taking those profits and stuffing them back in there. It's an amazing product for just the very basic person that wants to save and needs life insurance, to the most incredible investor who has a portfolio across the United States. Billionaires have been using this strategy for almost 30 years. Middle America hasn't really heard about it because it wasn't until about 20 years ago when we took the limits down from starting these accounts at $250,000. Our company's been able over the last 22 years to take that limit all the way down to starting these accounts with just $150 a month.
Wow, holy smokes, that's amazing. What a great opportunity, especially for people that are getting started, with all the challenges that are already out there. Now all of a sudden there's this vehicle that gives them, at least one more option to look at to see if if it's the right fit for them. So, hey, Christina, you'd mentioned earlier that when you got started, that this originally was kind of a little side hustle for you. So what I find interesting is that, a lot of people are out there right now, and as part of our Be Free and Clear program, right? Like,
Mhm.
there are people looking for um, sound, low cost opportunities to generate additional cash flow for their households. Maybe it is so they can go out and buy a home, or maybe it's something they're looking at, as they move into retirement, where they're moving out of a corporate job and they want something that's a little, a little less demanding on a time schedule, that they can use their own scheduling and time constraints, fit it to their needs. What kind of opportunity have you created through Messenger Financial for folks that might be interested in something like that?
I love this question. Probably besides being a wife and a mom first, my most favorite thing on earth is actually mentoring and coaching individuals to building a profitable and sustainable business in life insurance and financial services, because this industry has allowed me to each year earn multiple of hundreds thousand dollars, free trips. That's great on the monetary side, but I know I'm making a difference in my community while still being a wife and mom first, because that's my most important thing. And so I actually have a mentorship program that does not cost anything to be part of that. There is a requirement for you to obtain a license in our industry. Each state has their own license, but on average across the United States, to get started is only about $300, which sounds crazy because of the amount of money that you can make. You also, in our company, own your book of business from day one, which is really important in this industry, especially because I believe, just like you in what you're doing, you're branding yourself, not another company. We need to be really good at branding ourselves as the person in our community that is bringing hope, right? And so that mentorship program has really exploded and allowed me to help more women jump in this industry. Very proud of that, and also allowed individuals who, as you said, might have retired, but still are not ready to completely not working. I have helped a lady who is 72 years old for the last 2 years make over $100,000 in this industry, even though she retired out of working for the Department of Public Safety and had been a police officer her whole life. She wanted to continue to give back. And I've also helped individuals in their 20s who want to be stay at home moms, but they want to be able to pay for the extra dance classes and vacations. And so they're able to make an extra 1,000 to 2,000 a month and still be at home because of the power of our education first system. We teach financial education classes in our communities. We teach the individuals individuals that we mentor how to do this and how to bring that much needed education and also make a very incredible commission by providing the right financial tool that that family might be looking for. And so, yes, thank you for asking me that. I love mentoring. I would be honored to mentor anyone who is either looking for a full career change or just some extra income. I work in every state, including Puerto Rico, and you frequently will see me flying all across the United States, helping different individuals. So it's my greatest honor to be able to help someone not only get started, but stay profitable and sustainable in this industry.
Oh, that is great, and it is so in line with our Be Free and Clear values. Of everything from making sure that your home aligns with your finances, your purpose, peace of mind, and then here, we're finding methods of free cash flow and freedom for them. So, Christina, hey, I got to tell you, I just love your sincerity, how genuine you are. You're truly an educator. You're not here to try to sell anybody a product or a service. You're not looking to try to poach other financial clients' business. You're even willing to work with people. That's important to me because I do work with a lot of financial advisors that I do trust, and I think they're wonderful people. And you come from a standpoint of wanting to even support their business by just providing education to people. So I can't tell you how much I appreciate you being on the podcast with us and sharing all this knowledge. We are going to look at, for viewers and listeners, we are going to look at having Kristina back for a follow-up episode where she's going to go a little bit deeper into her strategies for real estate. Kristina matter of fact, I'm speaking for you, but you even mentioned that you're a real estate investor as well, right?
Yes, love real estate. I think I do subscribe to that. If you want to own a home, you should own a home. Everyone should. And I think that real estate, as far as legacy funding and leaving something to our kids, for me, that is way high on my list. That's a tangible asset that they can have, and it will be an investment property to them as well, and allows my love for them to live on. So, love investing in land and real estate, actually.
That's great. So yeah, we definitely want to make sure that we we get schedule an additional show for us here. And I'm going to try to see if I can get your information put up on the screen for everybody. So if anybody does want to get in contact with Kristina, we've got her information in the banner. Christina, I'm going to have you repeat it for our podcast listeners so that they know how to best get a hold of you if they want to reach out.
Absolutely. You can reach me at my email address or my website, which has my phone number and my email, but Messenger, like don't shoot the messenger. I love to bring the message of hope to you. So it's messengerfinancialconsulting.com.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay. Well, hey, Christina, thank you again for being here. We look forward to
Yes,
the
thank
next
you so much
episode.
for having me. I appreciate you and everything that you're doing for the community to help them be free and clear.
My pleasure. Take care.
Thanks. Bye bye.